And at one point, the police were even caught infiltrating the protest by 3 giant, muscle-bound, supposedly anarchists wearing masks and holding rocks. Were threatening to throw the rocks at the police.
No! Put the rock down, man!
A union leader stepped up and said, "Take off your masks, put down those rocks, you're not with us."
You're a fucking cop, the 3 of you! Go on, it's our line! These 3 guys are cops, everybody!
Eventually they ripped the masks off the guys, and the guys dove behind the police line. And that was all. It was caught on tape. It was exposed. They were exposed as infiltrators because they were wearing the same boots as the officers who arrested them. Plus, of course, who dives behind a police line for protection if you're a protester? It's something that most protesters would be scared to do, to dive into a bunch of police who are there, menacingly, staring at them.
As we confirmed yesterday, the 3 people in question were indeed Syrett, Quebec police officers performing their duties.
And what that shows is the fascist lengths which the Canadian government will go to protect the information about this trade deal.
In 2005, when you signed the Security and Prosperity Partnership, were you aware at that time of any plans to integrate the countries of Canada, US, and Mexico into a North American community similar to a European Union? And considering that the fact that there was no referendum from the people on this agreement, as a former Bilderberg attendee, could you please describe what your intentions were when you signed the SPP on behalf of the Canadian people?
Well, okay, I attended one Bilderberg meeting. I'm not sure they ever invited me back, but just to make sure, I've also gone to a Maple Leaf hockey game. That doesn't mean I'm a Maple Leaf fan.
And what exactly is the Bilderberg Group?
Well, it's a group of probably around 125 to 130 people that meet every year, heads of state, presidents, prime ministers, the heads of the Federal Reserve and Bank of Canada, and multinational corporations like British Petroleum and Coca-Cola, and heads of media, and all these really influential people who hold a lot of weight and have the ability to affect change in the world. That's who meets at the Bilderberg meetings every year. The name itself, they don't even technically have a name. Bilderberg is the name of the hotel where they first met back in 1954.
I believe the meeting was first organized by Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands. And they've been meeting every year since then to, I guess, stage manage as best they can world events and further control the world's resources.
So they've tried to remain secret for a long, long time, and it's only recently that the general population is starting to become aware of the Bilderberg Group. I mean, people at G8 summits, people think, well, there's a lot of power, there's a lot of influence right there to affect change, and look at the protests that show up to G8 meetings. The people at Bilderberg have way more power and influence than anyone at G8 meetings, yet there's a media blackout. So right away I have to ask myself, well, why is that? Why isn't anybody covering this? These guys are bigger than G8 guys.
In 1996 you were at a Bilderberg meeting, and also there was Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin.
I don't know if I was at that meeting. I've only been to a few of them. Bilderberg and Trilateral are not really think tanks. They're simply individuals who get together who are from business, the political world, the media, others, and discuss ideas. And they influence each other through that.
I think the overall objectives of the Bilderberg Group have been to unite various areas of the world in order to set up the New World Order, the one world government. They're the ones who are responsible for the formation of the European Union, which really didn't happen that long ago. It was set in place maybe, 8 or 9 years ago. So those are the guys who have the influence and the power. And they are the ones who are also going to be setting up the North American Union over here, and there's also going to be an Asian Union and an African Union, and those are the guys who are working to bring it together.
I don't really know what Bilderberg's position on this is, but I do understand your question. The Security and Prosperity Agenda, which was signed by Vicente Fox of Mexico, myself, and President Bush at Baylor in Texas, and you're absolutely right in that part of the question, has nothing to do with an economic union. What it really was that Fox and I both said, Fox because of immigration, me because of Mad Cow and because of softwood lumber, essentially said, look, you know, there are a number of items which are violating the spirit of NAFTA. They're not violating the letter of NAFTA, but they're violating the spirit of NAFTA. And if effectively we're going to be able to build a strong North American economy and compete with some of the Asian powers, we've got to be able to talk outside of NAFTA. And that's what it was all about. And what we said is we've got to be able to get our business communities together. Because I felt very strongly that we were having a terrible time with Congress on softwood lumber. And I really felt that if the Canadian business community was able to deal directly with the American business community and point out some of the stuff, it would give us a bit of a leg up. I can tell you it has nothing to do with any kind of a union.
There was a meeting held in Banff between military, political leaders, private business from Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. to discuss issues surrounding North America. But the meeting was closed off to the public, kind of veiled in secrecy. What kind of stuff was discussed at this meeting regarding the future of North America?
That was the meeting that Peter Lougheed and George Shultz coordinated?
Yeah, it was the one, it was at a hotel in Banff, I believe.
Yeah, I think Peter Lougheed coordinated that from the Canadian side. I don't remember exactly. There were general discussions about issues that each country faced, and we had, as I recall, there were some fairly senior people from the U.S. that were present.
Yeah, I remember them saying Donald Rumsfeld might have been down there at that time.
No.
No, he wasn't there? Let's see, this is what happens when media was cut off from it. That's why you get misinformation, disinformation. Once you get the media out of things like this, they can't report authentic
I can
truth.
guarantee you get misinformation when the media is present also.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Why keep the media out of it? If there's so many important people there, some big decisions could be made that could help inform the public more.
But it was not a decision-making group. I mean, I was there. I'm just a lawyer from Toronto and Ottawa, you know, so I have some experience, and I can talk knowledgeably about the issues that we face, but I'm not making any decisions. I don't hold any office. I don't buy into the conspiracy theories around meetings. I think some of that is deliberately misinformative. You know, do we need the media to be probing and to be asking questions? Absolutely. And there's no doubt about that. Can you have meaningful, productive meetings with the media present? Sometimes. Sometimes you don't, you know, if the media are present, you don't have a meeting. So, you know, you just have to, you have to do things, you know, with a certain practicality to it.
You have three primary groups that have been working on this for some time, more pronounced since the Second World War, but there are three key groups involved, and this is the Council on Foreign Relations, or its sister arm in Canada is the Canadian Council of Chief Executives, which is about 150 executives of corporations which control over $3 trillion in assets in Canada. The Trilateral Commission, which is by and large looking for this world integration. And the Bilderberg Group, which is a group of individuals who see this whole new role for society, building this global elite of integrating all of the countries together under one global single parliamentary command. So a new world order is being sold to the populace as being something that's good for us, for our own security and our own prosperity. It's not been voted on. Public are not even aware it's going on, but it's all part of these steps of changing the laws of the land, where you have regulatory bodies and corporations dictating what happens in nations, and we end up losing our nationhood and our sovereignty, which is quite frightening.
The only prominent non-governmental sort of group that have really paid a good deal of attention to this has been the Council on Foreign Relations. And their task force did come out with an articulate, and Mr. Pastor was involved, a vision, well-argued. John Manley in Canada. It was a very distinguished group of Americans, Mexicans, and Canadians who argued for a North American community.